Yo, what's up, YouTube? It's your boy Bam Bam, no limitation rideshare. I'm back. And okay, so I've got questions from you guys about how my time in Iowa was. I do have a wedding to go to today. I've had time to work on videos, so I'm just sitting here at my hotel. I'm out in Boston. My cousin's getting married, so as for my week in Iowa, I guess you guys can see there. I did a little over. It was like 1350 with cash. I did a little bit of cash this week too, so it was right around 1350. You can see I booked a fuck ton of hours, but also let me just say this. So Monday, and I'm going to answer the questions that I've had about the rates in Iowa because I drove in Monday and Tuesday morning. I was in Iowa City. The rest of Tuesday and Wednesday, I was in Cedar Rapids. Thursday, I made my way over to Des Moines, and then Saturday was the big Iowa versus Iowa State game. That's what Iowa has. It's the Super Bowl of Iowa. I mean, that's what they got. So you can see Saturday. Oh, here, I'll just click on it. Saturday, I did the best. Let me go down to my Lyft earnings for the week. But yeah, Saturday was probably my best day. Monday, 4 rides. Okay, hold on. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. This reads upwards. But yeah, Saturday I fucking murdered it. I had like a $430 day. I mean, that's what Iowa has though, so you got to capitalize when the money's there. Let me get into my experience a little bit, and then I'll talk about the rates, and then lastly I'll talk about some strategies and what's worth it, what's not. So let me just go ahead and elaborate on how my experience in Iowa was. All right, Monday. And the rates are the same. I already checked. The rates are the same for both Uber and Lyft. All right, so let's get into my fares. See earnings activity. I mean, by Monday, Tuesday, I was only at like $200 for the week. 2K was not happening. It was not happening. But you guys had questions about the rates. Turns out they were different in every city. Okay, so let's talk about this. So Iowa City had some of the better rates. It was 83 cents a mile, 12 cents a minute. Iowa City is a lot of, when it's nice out, everything is walking distance, and it's a lot of college students. So it was painful. At some points, I was averaging maybe a ride an hour running both Uber and Lyft. It was very, very painful. It was like scrape and change. Iowa City, if you're just looking for drinking money or, beer and smokes money or something like that, maybe a little bit here and there, the weekends were better. However, I'm very much told that Iowa City, the weekends are better. It's a big college town. However, I was not going to wait around to find out. So definitely was not worth it. So then Tuesday, like I said, the rates were the same. I gotta move my picture. The rates were the same. Let's see. Is this Tuesday? Tuesday made the same amount on Uber. Why did I make a Monday? Monday, 43. I did barely 100 both days. I mean, a little bit over 100. So Tuesday, 6 p.m. All right, Tuesday was a weird day because I had a couple of rides on Lyft. So let me go to the rates first. Let's see. Was this one in Cedar Rapids yet? Yep, this one was in Cedar Rapids, okay? The rates out there were a little different. So it was 72 cents a mile, 9 cents a minute, as compared to Iowa City, which was, 83 cents a mile, 12 cents a minute. Roughly in the same ballpark. You guys had questions on what the rates were. Tuesday, I just went up to Cedar Rapids. That's where my little brother is. So I went out there and, said hi to, see my new little niece. So that was awesome. She is all smiles wall to wall. All right. So ride history. I had a couple of rides. It was Tuesday. Was it on Uber? No, it was on Lyft. This is Tuesday, right? Back to the week, September 10th. I might have to cut this part out while I look for it. Was it on Uber? Couldn't have been. You know what? Maybe it was Wednesday. I think it was Wednesday. Okay, yeah, so it was Wednesday, all right. On Wednesday, I got this ride. All right, so I got this ride that took me to, so from Cedar Rapids, it took me way out where I didn't necessarily care to be. It took me to this casino that was, it was this ride. It was both of these two. It was the same rider, the two big ones. I had to wait like hours for that ride to come back. Kinda. I'll get to that in a second. So I got this ride that took me from like Cedar Rapids to, that's Iowa City right there, all the way down like way south here, which is like a river something casino. So I got this ride, and then while I was there, I was just like, please give me a ride back. I did not want to eat these miles. I mean, all of Iowa City and Cedar Rapids. I mean, I was eating miles, just like crazy. I was eating miles. So there's the $22 one. All right, so I get this ride on the right that takes me down by the casino. At the casino, I got this ride on Uber, which took me back to Iowa City. Well, I'd known from my experience Monday and early Tuesday that I did not want to be in Iowa City. I wanted to be in Cedar Rapids. So I figured I'd just eat the 20 minutes, drive back down to the casino, and potentially wait for that one guy to go back. Well, after a couple hours, plenty of YouTube work to do, and catching up on a lot of YouTube and stuff, a few live streams and stuff. So I got this ride back. So the guy gave me $5 on the way there, and then on the way back he gave me like $7.53. So I mean, those were good rides, of course, all three of those. But Wednesday was such a bust. I was like, okay, I don't want to be risking going from Cedar Rapids back to Iowa, because Iowa City was not worth it. And I didn't want to get trapped again. So on Thursday, let's go back. So, all right. Thursday, I start out in Des Moines. All right, I make my way. I just eat the 2 hours. I tried setting my destination to Des Moines, and I did not get a ride out there. However, which is like 2 hours away. However, what I did get was, so now we're going to talk about Thursday. Thursday is my first day in Des Moines. All right, Thursday. Boom. These are both my shifts in Des Moines. All right, so Des Moines seemed way worth it to me. All right, so 76.50 on Uber, 185.94 on Lyft. Let's look at the rates. I had some good rides, man. Their airport is fairly decent. There's never more than 20 cars. Not that their airport's very big. It's a small airport, but you know, it's really not like crazy, but it's a small market, and you do have to wind up eating a lot of miles and stuff, especially when you get out to like past West Des Moines there. I don't know if you can see that on the left side of your screen. You go out anywhere past there, and you either need to get back to West Des Moines, to downtown Des Moines, or the airport, which is pretty south of Des Moines. Then I'm gonna get to Ankeny in a minute. So you guys want to, let's see the rates. So it was 60 cents a mile in Des Moines, 13 cents a minute. I mean, it wasn't bad. Des Moines, I saw more surge than I had ever seen all week. We're not talking like crazy surge. I think the highest surge I saw was like a $7 flat surge on Monday. Whereas, let's talk about the game, because I used a specific strategy. I met a pretty good guy out there. His name's Chris, and he was good about getting back to me. He was good about answering his phone. He had some great strategies. I mean, the guy knew what he was doing in this market. So let's talk real quick about, so Thursday I had a $275 day, something like that. Tuesday I had a almost $300 day, probably with cash tips. So Thursday was a good day. All right, let's talk about Saturday. Let's talk about the game. Let's talk about the game on Saturday. So Saturday obviously was my best day of the week in Iowa. As you can see, 232 on Uber, 209 on Lyft, and that includes the bonus, the ride challenge. I got $34. So, okay, this is what I found was worth it to do. Saturday, I wake up. I set both my destinations, Uber and Lyft, to Ankeny, which is quite a bit of ways north. The first ride took me about an hour to get there, but that's where the game was. That's where the game, Iowa State was hosting it this year, so that's where the game was. So I set my destination on Uber and Lyft up there. Got a Lyft ride that took me up there. When I got up there, I set my destination back to, I set it to a DSM, the airport down there. That's their airport, the Des Moines airport. So I set it to the airport. I get a small surge, $2.25 surge ride back down to Des Moines. Then I'm like, okay, I'm going to try to do one more run to get up there. So I set both my destinations, and I did not get a ride. But on my first two rides were ridiculous, dude. First ride on Lyft was like $40, and then on Uber, you guys ready for this? Check this out. I did pull out a good one. I did a ton of trips. Check this one out. First two rides in Des Moines, $120. Boom, son. That was the best pull I had all week. And then I'll just go over, okay, so I went over that. I'll go over a little bit more of my strategy I used in Des Moines. So in Des Moines, between Ankeny and Des Moines, that was where it was really at. I mean, the rates were lower, but it was definitely busier, and I did see more surge. Saw a couple of prime times. I made my way up to, in the middle of the third quarter of the game, the football game, I just ate the miles and I drove to Ankeny. I denied every trip that said it was going to be 20, 30 minutes or more. And I mean, I'm literally taking every single ride, because what I noticed was happening was every single driver was being taken out of there. So 11:20 p.m. I mean, look at all these rides. Surge, 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 surge. This is where the flat surge is better. Look at all these rides. Look at how close they are. Flat surge is better than the multiplier. I mean, I was making some good money out there. And a lot of these were not like big trips. I mean, there you go, guys. I mean, do the math. I was doing really well up in Ankeny, and I only wanted the short trips. That's all I wanted. And then Saturday took me into Sunday morning. I did go ahead and rock out the Lyft ride challenge because the rides were just so short up there. I was like, okay, well, why don't I risk it with Lyft? I mean, it was to the point where nobody was on Lyft. They couldn't find rides. The students, there were not enough drivers up there. The students could not. The app was telling them that there were no drivers available. So then, well, this is interesting, guys. what the students figured out, okay, what they figured out is that on Uber, you had to schedule a ride, and Uber would automatically pick a driver for you and give you a 10-minute range of when you were going to be picked up in that time. All the rides were scheduled rides from maybe 10 p.m. till 2 a.m. All of them were scheduled rides. I mean, I didn't even think about that, but the students, I mean, they were clever enough to figure that out, and word got around town somehow because people were coming up to my car. People were trying to steal Ubers. I mean, it was cutthroat. It was cutthroat. I had people coming up to me, "Oh, what's your name?" And I'm like, "No, there's way too many people trying to steal Ubers here tonight." So, I was like, "No, you got to tell me. I'm not having anybody steal anybody's Uber. I'm one car. I was probably one of maybe 10 cars up there. There were not enough drivers. I don't know, 10, 20 cars maybe. There was hundreds of students, if not 1,000. I mean, my God, they were everywhere. And yeah, a lot of stuff's walking distance, but some people didn't want to walk over 2 miles. Over 2 miles, they didn't want to walk it. So that was something very interesting, and I would definitely say I would look forward, knowing what I know now, I would go back to Iowa to drive next year the same week for this same game. Maybe in 2 years when it's back at Iowa State in Ankeny, Iowa. But that's my entire assessment. I did about 1350. I probably drove on app. I mean, I know I clocked in total it says about 105 hours, but when I counted my own hours, it came out to about around 90. Didn't really know what I was doing, coming into a market that I'm unfamiliar with. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate you for your help out there, and definitely keep in touch. I owe you a beer for your birthday. Happy birthday, man. But that's my total assessment of Iowa. 1350. I'll take it. I drove a lot for it. You know, it wasn't anything super special. Do I think that 2K is possible? Knowing what I know now, I think maybe 16 or 17 would be possible, but that I would have to really play my cards right. And I don't think anybody has any interest in coming with me to Iowa, so any more Iowa advice, just email me, nolimitationrideshare@gmail.com, and I will see you guys in the next one. Deuces, y'all.